A summit conference was scheduled for May 1960 between U.S. President Dwight Eisenhower and Soviet Premier Nikita Khrushchev in Paris, France. The conference aimed to ease tensions during the Cold War, which threatened the world with the specter of nuclear conflict. The entire globe looked forward to the summit's success, but it never occurred. The reason was the Soviet announcement of having shot down a U-2 spy plane over Russian territory. The American cover-up. The Americans tried to cover up and disavow the incident. Official spokespeople initially claimed ignorance of any such U.S. mission. Later, Washington stated that the plane was meant for weather monitoring and climate research and had inadvertently crossed into Soviet airspace due to wind and poor weather conditions. However, Khrushchev had damning evidence implicating America in deceit. Revelation of the truth. Khrushchev disclosed that the plane was equipped with high-altitude cameras that had taken photos of Soviet installations and that the 31-year-old pilot, Gary Powers, was in Soviet custody. President Eisenhower was forced to admit the truth publicly, and his vice president, Richard Nixon, appeared on television to declare that the pilot's espionage mission was part of U.S. policies and would continue. Soviet conditions for the conference. Khrushchev used the situation to his advantage, demanding that President Eisenhower apologize publicly for the incident, punish his advisors, and vow not to repeat such behavior if he wanted the summit to proceed. The conditions were humiliating for the U.S. president, who did not comply, leading to the collapse of the summit. The trial. The incident was a moral victory for Khrushchev and caused significant embarrassment for President Eisenhower. Khrushchev crowned his triumph by holding a public trial for the spy pilot Gary Powers, which began in Moscow on August 17, 1960, before a large crowd of television networks and media personnel. Although the trial was held in Russia, the Soviets provided simultaneous translation of the proceedings into English, French, and German so that the world could witness Soviet justice. Spy's confessions. Powers revealed he was from Kentucky, of a poor family, and had volunteered for the Air Force in 1950. After 2 years, intelligence agents approached him to fly espionage missions over Soviet borders, nicknaming him Palmer, and training him on the U-2 plane for 2.5 months in Nevada. This plane represented the latest in American aviation technology, capable of flying at 68,000 feet, an altitude previously thought unattainable. The Americans believed no one could shoot down an aircraft at such a height. Spies missions. Powers flew missions over the Turkish-Soviet border with a team of 6 other pilots from 1956 to 1960. On the day of his plane's downing, May 1, 1960, he was tasked with flying from Peshawar in Pakistan to Bodo in Norway over Soviet territory. He was to operate his plane's equipment and cameras over specific locations. This was his first time crossing into Russian airspace.